Okay, we are now joined by the race-winning owner of 2311 Racing for the third consecutive week, Denny Hamlin. Denny, congratulations on this victory and the history made by Tyler. Maybe just open up with some thoughts on this record-setting performance by the 45 team.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm not going to see it again in my lifetime. To go out there and win 3 races in a row to start the season, and I mean, what a dream start for those guys. All kinds of got Atlanta and Daytona, and here it's just different tracks. It's not one necessarily type, but Atlanta's quite a bit different than Daytona and how you drive there, and so it's just getting it done in all kinds of different ways. The big test is going to be next week when he goes to a track that he hasn't had a ton of success at in Phoenix. Then that's where we're going to know whether this team's got how big that momentum is when they go out there to Phoenix and see what they got. But they're locked in right now. Tyler's locked in. Just so poised from qualifying day. You can't get poles at this type of racetrack unless you just are really disciplined. And when I'm looking from where we started there, and he's under attack those first few laps of restart, just stayed absolutely disciplined and didn't make any mistakes. So that's what champions are made of, and he's well on his way.
Thank you, Denny. If you have a question for him, please raise your hand. We'll start up here to Reed, and then go to Cameron and John.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. Is this streak all the more remarkable because the first 2 wins were on speedways where pretty much random, anything can happen?
Yeah, that's probably why I'm confident in it not happening again in my lifetime, because of the randomness factor of those races. So, defying odds, that's for sure. I don't know if you parlayed all your winnings from the first week, second week, third week, which you have, but I'm sure someone will figure that out. But it'd be a big number.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Denny, I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen the rise of Reddick down all the way to when he was in the Truck Series, and there's a reason you obviously wanted him from the start for this team. But is this just a making of a true superstar? I mean, Daytona, Atlanta, but then they'll hold off the best of the best there is at this type of track and pull away. I mean, you had to. This is what you probably saw coming from Reddick. I mean, it's just the making of a true superstar in this sport.
He's complete. I mean, the one area that we continue to work on with him is on the short tracks. I think that's where he can still improve a little bit, but we're working pretty hard on improving him at those types of tracks. But he's complete, and certainly more complete than I am at this stage. Where I've got a handful of races where it's like it'll be tough for us to go out there and compete for a win. There's less of those for him. So he's got a lot of really good things going on, and I think it's just we're steadily seeing him continue to get better. And what I love to see is that the work that he puts in and the things that we provide him for information, he's soaking it all in, and he's using it and executing it. And so what I've seen out of him over the last few years is just where he had some weaknesses. Our team has helped him shore those up, and it's amazing to see how well he's doing.
Go to John, then Dustin.
John, you'll be famous. I have 2 quick questions for you. So talking to SVG, he said that he could tell that Tyler still had something in reserve. He wasn't going all out in those closing laps. I was curious, what does that say about his discipline behind the wheel to where he's kind of not trying to be frantic or burn anything up?
Yeah, well, when you've got the lead, especially on a road course, it's very easy to pace the field and run the pace that you feel comfortable with, making sure no one's going to pass you, but also keeping the competition close enough to where it actually burns their car up. So, that's just really the discipline that I talked about, is that knowing that he doesn't have to go 100% to get the job done. You just do enough to win. and you know, sometimes the best offense is a good defense, and when you keep the competition kind of right there at bay, you're using a really good defense.
And then on a separate note, you get in a top 10 finish. I was just curious, how did the shoulder hold up during all that?
Good. You know, I feel good. It'll definitely be sore tomorrow, but first mistake-free road course for me in 6 years. It's freaking amazing. It's like a win. I'm telling you, this is a win.
Let's let me know, JC. Denny, for what you're building at 2311, to be the first team in over 60 years, to win the first 3 races of the year, like, what's that mean to you personally?
It's just so gratifying. Obviously, when I see Michael afterwards, and he's very appreciative of, he knows the work that I'm doing there to make all this happen, and you know, again, it's just it's very gratifying to see the joy that we're bringing him at this stage of his life. So it's just satisfying. It's the reason that you know, in 2019 I had that resurgence in my career, is that, you know, I went to work on some things and then I started seeing results from it, and then it just fed my desire to go get more, go do more. Same thing with the race team. It's just different because I don't control how much other people work. All I can do is show them the path that I think is correct, and they're taking the ball and just slam dunking it right now.
Anything else for Denny? Jim?
Jim Bertino with the Associated Press. After the race, Michael Jordan outside said he's just a money guy and was really crediting you with putting the team together and the driver lineup. Can you just speak to the partnership of the money guy and you, the detail guy, and how that all sorts out?
It's just a perfect partnership. I don't even know how to explain it. It's because, you know, this doesn't work unless he gives me the autonomy to do it. When I started kicking around trying to find a race team that would let me buy in, none of them were going to give me the control that I wanted. And you know, I don't know what the word is for that, but I wanted to make sure if it failed, it was because of something I did, you know, not someone else. And so when the stars aligned and we were able to start this, and I was able to get him as a partner, he was, I'm just so appreciative of the fact that he says, okay, here's my percent, here's your percent, but you're gonna have to build it. You're gonna have to do the work. You're the boots on the ground. And so that was what I wanted, right? Is you know, where I get the gratification is from building something from scratch. And again, this is this team had like 3 employees working out of Mike Wheeler's garage. I mean, there was nothing. We had 0. We didn't buy a team, didn't do anything, just built it. And this is what we're doing. It's pretty amazing.
Scott, actually, let's start off with some quick thoughts, Billy, on this historic performance by you and the 45 team. What are your just general thoughts?
Yeah, just incredible. You know, never even think it's possible, but really it's just been 1 week at a time. We've taken each week as its own race, and just, you know, been fortunate. Things have just gone our way. You know, when you're feeling things and everything's gelling and you seem like you can do no wrong, you just enjoy every step of it, because you never know when it's going to end, but thankfully it hasn't yet.
All right. If you have a question for Billy, raise your hand. Get your mic. Start up here with Jeff and then go to Cameron.
On the first run, you guys went backwards, and then it was like, oh, maybe he doesn't have short run speed or something. But then the next time, you were able to stay out in front of Blaney the whole time. So what did you, was it just an adjustment that you made, or how were you able to do that?
I think that was just Tyler's adjustment to understanding how hard to push, how much to save. You know, practice is limited, so you only get so many laps, and this tire has had a lot of places that it's fallen off really bad late in runs, so I think he was just, I haven't talked to him about it yet, but just watching, he did say at the end of the stage when we asked about balance, he said, no, I just need to push harder. So I think it was just a matter of he was just trying to save, and it did pay off. There were some cars we passed back before that run was over, we were able to, I think you were probably third or fourth there before the pit cycle started, and I think it was just him getting used to how hard to go, and obviously he figured that out for stages 2 and 3.
Kevin Richardson, NASCAR.com. Billy, what aspects do you see in Reddick that sort of separates him from the rest of the field? Because even before he came to 2311, he was, shining with, in his first few years in the Cup Series and being a 2-time O'Reilly champion. Just what separates him and kind of makes him, a rising superstar in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I would say work ethic, because he puts in so many hours and never wants to go home when we're doing sim testing and film stuff. But I mean, I think a lot of them do. So I think a lot of it is just coming down to just the natural ability and just being in a good place. Like he's put a lot of work into not just the on-track side of things, but also where we stand with expectations, and he's kept all that in a good perspective and comes every week hungry to do it again, and he's just able to. There's just really not many places that he's not a contender.
Anything else for Billy?
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. In looking lap after lap, it looked like where Tyler was making the most gains was off of 20 and then up the hill. Was that a perceived horsepower advantage? Because that's certainly what it looked like.
Well, never show on horsepower from Toyota, so we appreciate that. But I think a lot of it was just the forward drive in the tires. That's what falls off at these tracks with this new high fall off tire. That's the biggest thing we focus on now coming to the road courses. So I think it's just a matter of him managing things, and that's what he was trying to get a gauge on in stage 1, is how hard can he push through the high speed stuff, through the places where you're asking lateral, to where you do have some drive left in the tires at the end of the run.
Jeff?
Does this change anything in the way about how you approach the rest of the regular season? Because now, obviously you're going for the regular season title. You've got points to play with. Like all these people are going to be chasing you, but they're at a pretty big deficit, especially like some of the big contenders that, Bell was already 100 points back before today. Now he's even more. It's like, do you do anything different to manage the next 23 races as you're trying to hold on to this, or do you just try to keep opening it up? How do you approach this?
Certainly we do try to keep opening it up. I mean, that's what got us here, is racing hard, and I think speedways are the ones that are the most out of your control a lot of times, and thankfully those were 2 of the ones that started the year off. So don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we feel pretty good about the tracks coming up, that those typically are our strong suit and they're part of the schedule we look forward to. So yeah, we're just going to race every week hard, and the points will be what they are.
Our media availabilities for tonight. We're now joined by tonight's race winner, Tyler Reddick. Tyler, congratulations. You're off to a historic start to this season. That's 3 in a row, and that's the first that's been done in the NASCAR Cup Series. What does that mean to you? How are you going about this?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Just trying to soak it all in, honestly. I think it's so fitting that it had to happen coming into here. A place where, I got my first pole, years ago. A place that road course wise, it's a great fit for me, but I just had a feeling no matter where Shane was going to start, Connor, some of those guys, even, Blaney was starting towards the front. I just had a feeling at the end there I was going to see Shane at some point. Obviously, he blew my doors off in the beginning of the race. But that restart played out perfectly kind of for him to slot in the second. I'm like, of course, there he is. I'm going to have to find a way to hold him off. So, yeah, in this day and age of cup racing, right? I mean, the Daytona 500 is so hard to win. It's so hard to, survive at Echo Park Speedway. We were able to do that and be able to hold off Shane at the end of that race to make it 3 in a row. Yeah, it seems just very fitting that we had to go through the hurdles we did, especially these last 2 weeks to pull this off.
Well, congratulations. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. We'll start down here with Cameron. We'll go to Jeff. We'll go to John.
Kevin Richardson, NASCAR.com. Tyler, Are you aware of the accomplishment when you're in the heat of competition? Because I mean, it's not only like, all right, there's three wins in a row on the line, but also here's SVG right behind you in the closing laps, and then as it gets smaller and smaller in your mirror, is that something that like you start thinking is almost like some personal pride, or are you just waiting to take the checker flag to make sure everything's already set in stone and that it's over and you've won?
I think for me, in the heat of the battle, it's like, all right, I've got to find a way to hold off Shane. But yeah, as I started to pull away, certainly, it's like, all right, there's a lot on the line here. Hit your marks. Don't be a hero. You don't have to win by 8 seconds. It's so important to just not make mistakes because, I mean, who knows? Shane could have been playing games, right? Like back off a bit, see if I burn myself up, and I back up to him at the end of the race. So there's so much going on there. He's just so good on the road courses. Even when I was pulling away, right, it's like, all right, I mean, what am I just didn't let myself think it was over until it was truly over. So certainly used the pressure of what's on the line to motivate myself to hit my marks and close it out.
Come down here to Jeff, then to John, then to Dustin.
You started on the pole and then you went backwards. So I was thinking that it was something with your short run and speed, but then it wasn't like in stage 2, you stayed out front. Billy said that he hadn't talked to you yet, but his impression was you just were trying to conserve your tires in stage 1 and then you went harder once you realized what you had. What did happen then?
Yeah, I think in practice and in the first run of the race, I didn't quite have it right. Everyone was pushing pretty hard, and well, I thought they were, and I just had to make adjustments. It was unfortunate I lost all that track position that we worked hard to get, but it kind of played out to where I was able to. I think once you kind of have that momentum go the wrong way at any point in the race, guys are just being aggressive and putting in bad spots and just trying to keep the car clean. I remember it was Chase, and then Byron was behind him, and that's finally when I was able to kind of stop the bleeding in the beginning of the race, and then I was able to kind of march back forward. But I think for me, yeah, I didn't want to. I'm typically, whether it was at the Roval or a number of these other races, I kind of just burn up a little too quick, and I just ended up on the wrong side, on the other side of it at the start of the race today.
You were taking it too easy, essentially?
I think to a degree, I could have probably, it just took some adjustment as the race went on.
We'll go to John.
John, to be famous, I know you said that you thought Shane may have been playing games a little bit. When I talked to him after the race, he said that it seemed like you were actually kind of holding stuff in reserve because he could tell by the way that you were kind of going straight at certain points where he had to arc more. So was that the case? You're actually holding something back for the end?
I think, it's a tricky balance at these road courses. You want to run your best laps possible, but when you make a mistake and just slide the car, the penalty outweighs the reward. So just as a driver, you try to be mindful of you want to run as hard as you can every single lap, but you just try to keep all those things in mind.
We'll come to Dustin, we'll go to Kyle, and we'll come to Reed.
Dustin, I'm going to JC. Tyler, your numbers at Phoenix aren't the best, but you've always run well at Vegas. How long realistically do you feel like this could go going this year?
Well, I know the numbers don't necessarily, my experiences in spring in Phoenix, a number of years, I think dating back even the start of this car, we've been able to go there and kind of be knocking on the door. Last year we had a power steering failure that kind of knocked us out of it. 2 years ago, I remember me and Denny got together, that caution came out in the middle of the cycle, so I think in my opinion, we go to the spring Phoenix race, we're typically like right there, and for whatever reason we go in the fall, we're a little bit off, but I don't know, I feel like we've, again, kind of like we've done here, I'm really excited to see what we have for speed and pace over the next 2 weekends, because we've worked really hard to improve things here. We've worked hard to kind of rethink how we get around Phoenix, and we've just kind of doubled down on the things that we've been improving at Vegas. So honestly, I'm very excited to see what kind of pace we have at Phoenix and Vegas as it comes up.
We'll go over here to your left to Kyle, and then here to
Hey
Reed.
Tyler, so
there were multiple drivers affected by the heat today. So I wanted to know just kind of how you coped with the heat. And then I saw when you went up on stage, you kind of winced. You looked like you were walking a little
Yeah.
ginger. So what was that all about?
Yeah, over the years, I mean, I'd say like the one that was the worst was Fontana in 2022. Like my leg like went to sleep when I was leading that race. When I was at RCR, and unfortunately we had a flat that day. But yeah, just over the years, I've occasionally had issues with like my sciatic nerve kind of acting up, and I didn't really feel it in the car, which was nice today. But as soon as I got out and got moving, it was just really fired up. But it's getting better. I don't think it was heat. No, not for me. It's getting old.
We'll come down here to Reed.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire. Obviously, to win the race, you had to hold off SVG, which is no easy thing to do. But did you also think it was an important moment when you kept Laney behind you when he made the move to the inside, I think,
A number of times, yeah.
in 6A and actually got pretty close to making the pass?
Yeah, it's I think it worked in my favor today. As we've worked towards this tire that wears more, it kind of has been a bit more old school and traditional of how the rubber builds up and the racing lane narrows up. So I think that certainly played in my favor in the moments where I was not at my best and I made some mistakes. I was able to do a bit of defensive driving and I don't know, you never want to be in that spot where you're having to try to force the car that's trying to pass you where to go, but I kind of was able to keep myself in a spot where, when we get to the carousel, when he would really contend the spot, it was hard for him to make that outside of the carousel work.
Any other questions for Tyler? We'll go back to John.
John, sorry, just one quick follow-up. How does it mean more that it is just so freaking hard to dominate in this car as opposed to past generations?
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. But if you ask Shane, in the road courses, he did a really good job last year, just tearing it up. But I mean, I don't know. In my opinion, just all the data that's out there, the resources that the teams have, the ability to just kind of dive into every detail, of the corner of each person's race. Just it's so open book without all the information that's out there. It's just hard to week in and week out just dominate. Yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, I kind of see a change even from the time that I came in, just how much data, simulation, all these things just continue to change our sport. It's hard, man. We'll go to Richmond and Martinsville and Bristol, and a 10th is sometimes 15 spots. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, just in my opinion, what I see out of our competitors, it's really, really hard to week in and week out be in contention to win. So to be able to put it together like we have these first three is just pretty unreal.
We'll come down here to Dustin.
I know you said you're excited to see what kind of speed that you guys have coming forward the next few weeks, but how do you approach the next couple of weeks with a 70-point lead already?
We'll just manage it lap after lap, corner after corner, certainly, yeah, like as we race, I just have to be mindful, understand what I'm racing for in those moments. Is it worth the risk or is it not? But certainly, I think to an extent, if we just continue to bring really fast race cars, we won't have to put ourselves in tricky spots in the race. We're able to kind of race a little bit smarter. So, I mean, for me, I really enjoyed, racing for points in 2024 when we had that battle come down the end at Darlington with Larson, the winner of the season championship then. So, yeah, for me, I enjoy this. I know it's ironic I'm saying that, like I said, a 70-point lead, but to be able to just kind of execute in the first two races that are hard to just have clean days, to get the points that you did there and come in here and be able to grab stage points in stage 2 and then obviously win the race is real special.
We're going to come back to Kyle over here.
Real quick, so after the race, this is your third consecutive race. Michael's been there for all of them. Did he have any different words? I mean, what is it feeling like every time having Michael in victory lane with you?
Yeah, he reminded me earlier this week. He does things in threes, and he expected no less today. So I was really really glad to be able to live up to the standards that he has for us and be able to deliver 3 in a row. That was really cool to share that moment with him.